What's going on YouTube?
Washington.
This is Jamar for here once again. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jamar for here once again, and we're here to review this latest episode of American Horror Story entitled Bullseye. And the name, holds truth, because as soon as this episode opens up, we see this spinning wheel thing, and Elsa is saying to bring it into the front tent and all this other stuff. And as soon as this episode starts, I'm wondering, like, okay, I wonder what she did, with those twins. Because last, we left off, she dropped them off, and I'm like, did she get paid for those twins? Because I remember at the beginning of the series, they was trying to offer like $15,000 for them twins, and I'm like, did she get those coins? I was looking for a reference and I ain't get it, but we'll move on. So she's spinning the wheel. She's practicing throwing her darts and stuff, and the bearded lady comes in, is asking like, what the hell is this? And is this going to be like in the show? And she's going on to say something about this going to be part of her act on her TV show. She still thinks she's getting this show, girl. I don't know if this is a delusion at this point, or does she really believe it, or I'm not sure, but we're gonna keep a prayer circle open for her. So we move on to the twins. Now, the mom is talking to the son, and he's just confessing his love for the twins and how he feels like normal when they're around and shit. And I'm just like, see, mama, I don't know. Something ain't right, because I understand that her mother knows that her son is a little off, but she just seems too calm and okay with the shit that her son does. Like, I already know that somehow, someway, before this series is over, Dandy is gonna die. I don't know by who. I don't know if it's gonna be Jimmy. I think it might be her mom. Hell, Gabourey Sidibe, aka Precious, aka Queenie from last season, may come and shank him for stabbing her mama. I don't know, but homeboy has to go somehow, some way. And so he professes his love for the twins and whatnot. So it's Elsa's birthday, okay? And everybody's celebrating, and everybody's bringing her gifts, and everybody's looking all sad, like, what's wrong? She's trying to ask, like, what's going on? And everybody's like, they're concerned about the twins. And she starts getting mad, talking about, everybody, don't forget about those twins. They left us, and we're not gonna feel sorry for them, or we're not gonna feel, anything towards them because they left us, and blah blah blah. And everybody's just like, well, damn. I mean, like, why would they leave? Like, you were last with them. Like, did they give any inclination that they wanted to leave? Like, what happened? She was just like, oh, they just, I turned my head and they ran off. How far could they really go? And even I forgot who it was that said it, but it's like, you have a two-headed bitch, they ain't gonna get on no train, with nobody seeing them. Like, where do you really think that they're going? So everybody's kind of taking her story with a grain of salt. And come to find out, Paul, the little chicken wing man with the arms and whatnot, is screwing Elsa, and I'm just like, I guess everybody needs some loving on both parts, but I don't know. It just seemed kind of random to me. It just seemed random, but either way it goes, it turns out that he's also screwing this other chick who has daddy issues, and I guess we're going to have to figure out, what her tea is, because she comes, well, that's later on in the episode. Well, actually, we might as well mention her whole deal now, because it wasn't really much. She is, trying to get some dick. She's trying to get, she's trying to get it on, and he's trying to be like, oh, I want you to get to know me as a person. I want you to, get to know me as a man, and not just, for my ping, blah, blah, blah. And then the dad comes in, and he ducks, stop, drops, and rolls underneath the motherfucking bed. Daddy comes in, talk about some, last time, and I ain't gonna have you doing all this, or running around being a whore, pretty much. And I'm guessing she ran off at some point, and I don't know if her and Paul have a past or not. It was eluded, because when she was getting up in the morning, like 2 o'clock in the morning, her daddy came up with a gun and was like, "Where the fuck you going?" And she just like, "Well, damn, is you gonna shoot me if I leave?" She was like, "I'm about to go leave with Paul. We're gonna go run off. We're gonna be in love, and anything is better than staying here with you." And I'm like, is he fucking her? Is he raping her or something? I don't know. They didn't really give us that too much information on that. But so she runs off to the what you call it, the freak show to find Paul, and well, we gonna get to the situation that Paul was in at that time. I just wanted to get her out the way. So she's screwing. He's screwing the no. Elsa's screwing the Paul, the no arm man, and he's screwing this other chick. So now we go back to Dandy and the twins. So he's, talking with the twins, and he's feeding them like all these different stuff, trying to cater to them and all this other shit, feeding them fish eggs and whatnot. Now, homegirl Bet is just eating this shit up. She's just writing in her diary, talking, "Oh, this is the best place. I've never felt like this, and Dandy's such a gentleman," and all this other shit. And so she's just in heaven. Dot, on the other hand, is like, "This is some bullshit. I need to get the fuck out of here. This is a temple for my despair." She's just saying all this depressing ass shit. And then, so, while they're trying to feed her fish eggs and shit, Dandy starts telling them, reading a story from a newspaper about an article about a set of twins that was surgically separated. So Dot's antennas go up like, boing. She's like, "Ooh, maybe I can do that." But then again, this is the part that's confusing, because I understand, like, last week they had like a flashback, or a scenario rather, to where when Bet ate that cupcake and she died, and then Dot was all panicking and, depressed and all unhappy and about, that her other side was dead. So I guess since that never happened, Dot has no memory of that, so she didn't know that she would really be upset if Bet were to actually be, were to die and be separated. So the fact that she's still on for this surgery is kind of, I just feel like it's just fucked up. Like, how old are they? They're probably like in their late teens, early 20s, and y'all really, I mean, hell, y'all don't went this long, shit. I don't, I just feel like this is going to be a big mistake should she ever actually go through with this shit. But anyway, so she hears about this surgery, and she's writing down in her diary, that she feels like this is a line of hope. And let's see, did I get to the part where... Nope. Okay. So... Dandy tries to get them to tell him a secret, because he's like, "Well, Dot, you always have your diary locked so nobody else can read it." And then she's like, "Well, me and my sister have a pact to where we would never read what the other has written in their diaries." And I guess Bet doesn't keep her diary closed, so he probably read her shit and it was all happy and whatnot, but he wants to read what Dot has to say. So he's like, he tries to set up, he's like, "Okay, I'm going to tell you a secret, and then you tell me yours." And so he's like, "Well, all those killings, the clown and whatever." Dandy's like, "I did that. I killed the clown. I saved the city. And Jimmy was just frightened somewhere and blah, blah, blah." Basically lying. And Dot was like, "You're full of shit. I know that's not what happened." So, and so she was like, "Well," and then Dandy was like, "Well, that was my secret. Now you tell me yours." Dot was like, "No." And Dandy was like, what do you mean? What do you mean no?" She was like, "No." And he was like, "You're making me angry, Dot. Like, why are you doing this to me?" And then he just starts going crazy and shit. And I'm just like, girl, if you know that this man is nuts. Hell, Bet even caught T. She was like, "Just tell him anything. Shit, it don't even have to be fucking true. Just say something." And shit, Dot was not here for it. She was like, "No." So he flipped. Oh shit, spitting and shit. That's not cute. He's flipping tables and shit and going just berserk. And I'm just like, "Oh Lord, here we go again." I hope he don't kill y'all in the blind fury. So we move forward to the little arm man, Paul, So he's trying to buy some perfume for the little girl with the daddy issues. I forget what it's called. And so while he's in the store, he sees Dandy, and Dandy's sitting up here asking, like, I only see something. I forget what it was he was asking for, but he brought, like, all the stuff that he was looking at onto the counter. And uh, Paul sees the things. He sees, like, the two things that they put in their hair, like, and all these other double feminine products. And so he's like, have I seen you? You know, I've seen you here before. You were the one that was trying to, that you bought out the show, you and your mom, and blah, blah, blah. And Dandy's like, yeah, I know you, but he's not trying to talk to him because he's trying not to, say what he's in there for, or trying to give any information out. But pretty much Paul peeps game, like, yeah, I know you're the one that holding them twins. I know where the twins are. So then we get to the part where I was kind of sick to my stomach because what is her name on the show? Esmeralda, the little fortune teller bitch, is meeting up with the gay dude. And they're trying to come up with a plan. I guess since the twins have ran off, they need to find, a new freak to take back to the museum or whatever. And so she's like, well, what if we get Jimmy and just, lure him into the shed and chop off his hands and shit? And of course, Esmeralda, seeing as Jimmy kind of gets her pussy wet at this time, she's like, no, I ain't too much with that idea. So she tries to, avert from this. He's like, well, what else do you have in mind? Like, what other idea can we do? And she's like, I have a better idea, and it's gonna be somebody who won't even put up a fight. So they set up this whole scenario where they take the smallest woman in the world, the little Asian girl / baby, lady baby, whatever you want to call her, and they take her to the shed. They put her in like this big tube, and she's just in there. She can't reach the top of the tube, and they just pour in, I don't know if it's just water or some sort of poison or whatever, and they just fill it up and they just drown that little girl, and they hold her face down there where she stops squirming, and so she's just dead. And I'm just like, I was just like, no, this is not okay. Like, I was not prepared for another meat moment. I was not prepared for another one of those moments where one of these little defenseless freaks is just brutally murdered on some bullshit. And so it turns out, she was just explaining what she could do, and it wasn't actually happening at that time. So I'm just like, oh, okay, so at least she hasn't done it, let's see, where are we at? Okay, so the Iron Man goes back into Elsa's tent, and I guess she sings a song for him or whatever, and she's trying to ask him what they would think on her little show or whatever. Elsa's still in her delusion, child. And long story short, she ends up saying that, she's trying to figure out, like, why do you smell like, such and such perfume? Like, who you been fucking? So he's like, you know what? I want to know, and he pretty much confronts her about the twins, like, because what he saw from what Dandy said, like, in the store, like, what have you done with those twins? I feel like everybody else thinks you're some savior when you're the one that probably is trying to get rid of anybody that gets in the way of your spotlight. And so Elsa Peep's game was like, oh, okay. So she says she wakes up all the freaks. It's like early in the morning. She wakes up everybody and just starts going on a tirade about how can you guys not trust me. He was like, I knew, I could have left you in the gutter. I could have left you where you was at. You wasn't shit. You wasn't shit. You wasn't shit. She was just going reading everybody, talking about where they was at before she found them. And she's like, well, the bearded bitch is the one who tries to, keep Elsa calm and trying to, say, well, what can we do to show that we trust you? She was like, you know what? Somebody has to get on the wheel and let me throw darts at them. And, that's the only way that I'll believe that you guys trust me. And so the little Paul guy with the little chicken finger man offers his services. Ooh, excuse me, get up on the wheel. Now, she has 3 daggers. Throws the first one, it misses. I was like, okay. Now, mind you, she's already pissed off that he done cheated and confronted her about what happened with them twins. So I'm just like, that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do to offer yourself up, but it is what it is. She throws the second one, misses. And then I'm like, okay, so we just got one more. And I'm just like, I just knew. I knew that she was gonna fuck this nigga up. She threw that shit dead in like his side stomach. Like, she didn't even make it seem like she tried to miss, honestly. Because she threw it, like, if you're spinning, okay, usually at first she was aiming for like the outskirts or the outer part. She threw that shit dead in the center. Like, that's the part that's not going to move, okay? So I felt like that should have been taken as she was doing that shit deliberately. So after that scene, we see Esmeralda going into my petite, or whatever the little girl is called's tent, and waking her up. And I'm just like, oh shit. Lord, please don't let me have to watch this if she gonna do this shit. She takes her all the way. She thinks she's hunting for butterflies, and she's up in there doing a little butterfly thing and looking all cute, innocent and shit. And we see her put her in the tube. And she unscrews the bottle of whatever it was, either liquor or water or whatever the shit's supposed to be. And we see her like about to pour it, and that's when it cuts off. And then we wake, and everybody wakes up, and they're like, we can't find me petite or whatever her name is, and she's usually here for breakfast. She's the first one here, and I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ, that is so fucked up that they killed that little tiny baby. She ain't did nothing to nobody, you know. But here she comes holding her, saying that she went to go hunt for butterflies. I'm just like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, Lord have mercy. I was just like, that would have been so fucked up. I really would have been getting up on here reading this damn show, because I would have been pissed if she actually killed that girl. So basically, she and Jimmy, she's trying to be like, Jimmy, we need to get the fuck up out of here. I ain't trying to kill nobody. I'm trying to get the fuck off this deal with this dude. And he's like, well, you know, let me just go pack a bag or something. And so she's trying to get the fuck out before old dude finds out. And she tries to go back to her tent, and old dude is standing there like, so what the fuck? And she comes up with the excuse like, well, you know, I couldn't just, you know, walk out with one of the freaks, and all the freaks are on alert because of what happened before. And he's like, oh, okay, well, fuck it. We're going with my original plan and sawing Jimmy's hands off, since you can't, you know, get the little girl. So she's like, fuck, like, what am I going to do now? So let's see, where are we at now? So let's see, okay. So Elsa, after the whole thing of she's stabbing Paul in the damn chest or abdomen or whatever, she says, take him to my tent, take him to my tent. I'm going to call for, you know, an ambulance or something. So he's just in the tent suffering. And she's just like, you know what? I really wouldn't even care if you died. Truth be told. And so I think the bearded lady comes in, and they're trying to tend to him and all this other stuff. And they're like, well, where's the ambulance? Where's the ambulance? She was just like, well, I called, but they just don't seem to be in any rush. I was like, oh, you old vindictive ass bitch. He was right about your ass. You really is going to get rid of anybody that's getting in your motherfucking way. So she never did call the bitch. She was just going to sit there and let that dude die. And that's when that other girl that was with the daddy issues came, was looking for him, and she was all panicking, and at his bedside with Elsa sitting right there. And I'm just like, child, the shade, honey. So anyways, Dandy's mom tries to come in and offer Dandy, I guess, a snack or something, and he's sitting there crying and shit. And she's like, well, what's the matter, dear? What has you so down? I hate the way she talks. When she be talking, I be getting so annoyed. And he's like, you know, he pretty much broke open Dot's diary, and she read him fulfilled. She was just like, this dude is not funny. He's annoying. I can't stand him. And the only reason I'm here is because he gives us like $10 to laugh at his jokes. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to collect all this money so I can get this surgery done. And then I'm about to be OUT out, bitch. And so his heart is just broken. And he's just like, well, I know what my calling is, mother, is to bring death. That is my calling. And then after that, the doorbell rings, and it's Jimmy, and Jimmy is asking for the damn twins because Paul gave him the heads up about Elsa, even though he didn't want to believe it. So he's like, he's here for the girls. Let him in. So I'm like, oh shit. And they're about to do a motherfucking duel between the sword and the scissor hands. I'm just like, oh Lord. So I think that's pretty much how the episode ended. Child, I want to see how they gonna do this shit. I almost felt like the clown at the beginning was almost kind of pointless and just because he didn't really serve as big of a purpose as I thought he was. I guess he was just like a prep character to kind of put Dandy in the position where he is with this whole killing shit. I don't know. I just wish that they kind of kept the clown and kind of intermixed him with the original story a bit more, but it is what it is. Hell, I wish they kept Patty for something for a little bit longer, but she only lasted like 3 episodes. I'm like, whatever. But that's American Horror Story, you guys. Make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe to the videos on the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
Like, share, subscribe.
Washington.